If it feels like this week is just a little bit different than the rest of the week so far in the 2025 season, that's because it's Packers week and things feel just a little bit more differently this time around. Welcome on into the Bear Report podcast. I'm Steven Johnson. He is Zach Pearson. And Zach, I tell you what, we have been waiting for a very long time for this to mean more than just a rivalry game. And here we are in week 14. And it's for the lead in the NFC North.
Yeah, it's a big one, man. It's different. Goodness, what the Bears haven't been first place in the NFC going into December until 2006, since 2006. Yeah, the last time a game this late in the season, what meant something was 2018, maybe, when the Bears could have clinched the NFC North. So yeah, it's a big one, but still, man, you still have that weird feeling that it's the Packers and the Bears have only won one of their last 14 against Green Bay. So yeah, you can't help it if you're a Bears fan, I guess. But the Bears fans should be excited. This is what you want. You want to be in those games.
And short-term memory-wise, obviously the Week 18 game a year ago with the Bears ending a very long losing streak and Caleb Williams doing what he's been doing very well over the last calendar year, and that's engineering game-winning drives to set up the team for game-winning field goals, is what they did up in Lambeau, and now they go back to the well and heading back up to Green Bay in the afternoon primetime window at 3:25, where they will have a chance to show the world that it was not a fluke that they were able to do that. And this year has not been a fluke at 9-3, because despite everything that's been going on with this team and the doubters that have continued to come out of the woodwork throughout this stretch where they've won 9 of their last 10, it still seems as though there's still those doubters, specifically after last week's Philadelphia Eagles victory out in Philly. And I can't imagine there being anything more than going into your biggest rival's home and putting a second statement game back to back like they did last Friday out in Philly.
Yeah, man, it's weird because like leading into that Philadelphia game, everyone's, the Bears haven't beat anyone, negative point differential, DVOA, this, that. And a lot of it coming from Packers fans and Packers reporters. And they beat Philadelphia. Caleb Williams doesn't have a great game. They get it done in the run, in the run game, and everyone's, well, look at Caleb Williams' stats, this, that. And it's like, I mean, what else? You win football games how you win football games. They saw something in Philadelphia's defense. They exploited it. Now you have a chance to shut those people up. Shut those Packers fans up and make the rest of the NFL believe in you by going out and winning a tough road game at Green Bay, controlling first place in the NFC North for at least another week or two, and controlling the number 1 seed in the NFC. If the Bears win out, they're going to be the top seed in the NFC, which is wild. So yeah, I mean, and will they win out? I don't know. I don't think so. But here you go. This is where you start. This is a good game to get.
Absolutely. And, this has been brewing since the day that Ben Johnson was introduced as Bears head coach. He made some very interesting comments that have arisen thanks to some certain beat writers across the NFL, saying that he really loved beating Matt LaFleur twice a year, while giving praise to Kevin O'Connell and Dan Campbell as Coach of the Year nominees in the NFL. And that's a bulletin board material-esque statement for Ben to say, seeing that, the last 3 years, the Lions were 5-1 against the Packers. So there was a lot of success there. It is something that he was really able to build upon and have success against. And obviously those are significantly different teams, but as we know, this is a significantly different Bears team that we were talking about back in January in that final game of the 2024 season. And even to now versus week 1, week 2, where you're seeing an offensive line where 4 of your 5 starters are in the top 7 in Pro Football Focus rankings at their specific positions, which is insane to think. That is not something that I think anyone expected heading into this year. And all of a sudden, what became the biggest weakness for the Bears is now one of their biggest strengths, if not their biggest strength.
Yeah, I mean, Ben Johnson's confident, right? Like he's got a lot of confidence to him, and rightfully so. He's really built a different culture here in Chicago compared to what it was, essentially a year ago at this time. They were going into this week with Thomas Brown as their head coach and players, going off on Matty Eberflus, essentially, watching that San Francisco game last year, quitting. They just didn't show up. But yeah, on the offensive line and the Packers defense, Ben Johnson, I'm sorry, praised the Packers, defense. And so that was one of their strengths. And it wasn't only, Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary. It was their safeties. Called their safeties some of the best in the NFL. It's going to be a challenge for the Bears offensive line. The Bears right now going into week 14, they're 6th in sacks allowed at 19 on the season. But these next 5 games, man, you got the Packers twice, who are tied for 10th most sacks in the NFL. You have the Lions, who's also 10th most, tied for 10th. And then you have the Browns, who are number 2 in sacks. And a big reason is Myles Garrett. And, you have the 49ers, who are dead last in sacks. But it's going to be a test in 4 of those 5 games. And what can this offensive line do? Because we saw last week, Williams was sacked once. And the run game got going. I feel like we'll be fine in that area, but you can never sleep good at night knowing, okay, 3 straight weeks, you're going to have Micah Parsons and Myles Garrett. So it's going to be a big test for this offensive line. But they're playing well. And Ben Johnson all but essentially cemented that Ozzie Trapillo is going to be the starting left tackle moving forward, which is a huge development.
Can we talk about that for a second? Because, at the beginning of the year, Ozzie Trapillo was a healthy scratch for this team. And this was a Bears team that was struggling at left tackle. Was Braxton Jones the answer? Was Theo Benedett the answer? And now finally finding out that giving your second round rookie the opportunity to solidify himself at left tackle, he's doing a pretty darn good job, all things considered, being thrown into the fire after we had heard that he hit a rookie wall pretty early on this season. I don't know what changed, but it changed for the better, and it's looking like what was a strength is now an even greater strength because of Ozzie Trapillo's addition to the left tackle spot.
Well, not even like inactive, but he was the backup right tackle in training camp. He fell to 3rd on the left tackle depth chart, and they saw enough where they're like, let's get this guy a right tackle because it's not working out at left tackle. But I mean, that's just, credit to him for working hard. He improved. He got better. He developed. That's the key word. We did not see much development under Matty Eberflus and that coaching staff in his 3 years here. We've already seen development in Ben Johnson's roster, and a lot of it rookies. Look how much better Colston Loveland has played. Look how much better Luther Burden has played. Kyle Monungai, 7th round pick that is one of the best, if not, I'll say Trevion Henderson, but one of the best rookie running backs right now in the class. So, I mean, that's just a testament to Ben Johnson. These guys are getting better. Bears clearly had plans for these guys, the rookies, and they didn't want to rush them. But yeah, the addition of Ozzie, a little rough in some run blocking here and there, but his pass blocking has been better than Theo Benedict, which I think really sold the Bears on making him the starter and replacing Theo.
Yeah, and praise to Dan Ruchar, too, for just the incredible job that he's done as the offensive line coach in really getting this team together, because we all know it was not looking pretty early on in the season. The number of false start and pre-snap penalties and just not meshing the way that everybody expected them to for the amount of money that the Bears put into the line. And all of a sudden, it's giving everyone the vibe of, okay, we got to trust the process here, because clearly, they know what they're doing. And I think there's that trust now that we can officially say with confidence they know what they're doing after years of saying it, but not necessarily believing it with the coaching staffs that have come through Hallis Hall.
Yeah, I mean, in Ben we trust, right? Like looking at these coaching staffs that we've seen, like it's crazy how bad it was over the years, and they're developing guys now. They got a plan. They're doing everything right, and it's just so refreshing to see. And I don't know how you feel about this. I don't like it, it's kind of it's not a controversial thing, but like you look at it and I almost feel like the Bears are playing with house money right now because it still feels like they're another year away from being a legit contender in the NFC. And I think, not to take away from the Bears' success at all, but like it's a little bit of a byproduct of they have, a last place schedule, but these final 6 weeks were really tough. But at the same time, like there's a lot of parity in the NFL right now. Like, look, the New England Patriots are the number one seed in the AFC. It's kind of a mixture of things, but still on the other side of that, you don't apologize and you go for it. You got the number one seed right now, you go for it. And I think, whether they get to the Super Bowl or NFC Championship game, I think, getting to the playoffs is going to be a big accomplishment. Number one, if they can get there, knock on wood. Number two, winning a playoff game is right there for them too. But I still think like we're building towards something really special beginning with next season. I think this is a great learning year. This is a great developmental year. And they can really put their foot on the gas next year, which is kind of scary because they're going to be, pretty good again.
Yeah, I just feeling like they're that one move away from really laying the hammer down. I've seen a lot of people compare it to the 2015 Chicago Cubs, where there was promise, but it wasn't like, oh, they're going all the way. And then all of a sudden, there's a very young Cubs team that's playing for the NLCS a year ahead of schedule, and then they sign Jason Hayward, and everything falls into place in 2016, and the rest is history. And you hope that there's a similar trajectory for this Bears team, that there's that one missing piece. I think a lot of people would point to the defensive end spot as a area that they could potentially, build things up for next year. But like you said, the house money thing, no one expected this. No one expected them to be on the run that they did. Yeah, as fans, you can easily say, oh yeah, they're going to go 12-5 and they're going to be great and they're going to do all these things. That's what we say every year. We have said that numerous years since, heck, even 2018. And look where it's led us. And all of a sudden, there's this feeling of, this is what it feels like when not only you're meeting expectations, but you're exceeding expectations. And now you wonder what things are going to be like once everything falls into place. And I don't know what it looks like, but I'm excited.
we could see it this year. We
could.
Realistically, we could see it this year. If they do get the number one seed in the NFC, or they do win the NFC North, I mean, that's already a big accomplishment for them. Yeah, so we could see it. And yeah, you're right. I mean, it's you look at it, you probably need another pass rusher, but now if Ozzy Trapillo is your left tackle of the future, you've just completely wiped away a big need in the offseason. I think you can focus on interior offensive line again, because Joe Tooney is getting a little old. You have to get some guys in here that can step in and replace them. But yeah, they might not have as many needs as we originally thought going into the year now.
Absolutely. And looking at how this team now stacks up against the Packers, we talked a lot about the offensive line, and the offense is a big piece of how this game is going to go against Green Bay, obviously. And there's been some words shared by Ben Johnson and Dan Wiederer sharing this for what happened at Hallis Hall today, saying Ben Johnson starting week 14 with a message to his offense that they collectively need to get the passing attack revved up. And I think for all of us, it's like, well, yeah, tell us what we don't know. Yeah. But Caleb Williams responding with that and saying he has considered his one of 11th in that effort as the one guy on the field, saying details. And when the time comes, the guys give the guy a runner a ball, let them go be special, but my part of it is details, just footwork, being clean, moving through the concepts, getting reps, and visualizing all the different reps and concepts we have throughout the week, and visualize completing each pass and the coverage with however it may be, my drop or pressure. It's feeling confident in that and then delivering a good runner's ball for those guys so they can go and make special plays for us. And I will say this, the accuracy. And that's been the biggest part. You walk into this season, they say, Caleb, we want you to complete 70% of your passes. And he's a bit below 70% on the season right now. He's under 60 right now. And I'd say that's probably the biggest thing. We've seen the inconsistency in that regard where he just gets so frazzled with just throwing rockets or overthrows. Frankly, it's been a lot of overthrows more than anything else. And if that comes together, that's going to be the difference maker in this game, bar none, because of the amount of times we have seen Bears receivers spring free from coverage because of how well Ben has been able to scheme them open.
Yeah, I mean, the accuracy is an issue, but they're also. I mean, I know Ben Johnson said they're winning in spite of the passing game, but Caleb's made plays in the fourth quarter that have been good. It's just getting that consistent whole game. Let's go out and have a good game. And I go back to that 70%. I feel like Ben Johnson did that on purpose because that's just a tough. I mean, only 5 quarterbacks had that last year. I don't know how many quarterbacks have it right now. It's a tough barometer to reach. And I think Ben did it on purpose to challenge Caleb Williams and say, look, this is where we want yet. But even if he's not there, they're going to use it as a step forward and try to get him there, for next year. But I mean, Caleb's right. And Ben's right too. It's going to take everyone. It's going to take everyone on the field, their wide receivers with their route concepts and the depth of their routes, Caleb with the accuracy, obviously Ben Johnson with the play calling, the offensive line blocking, things like that. So does it get fixed? I mean, I don't know if we could confidently say this year is going to be the year where he takes that step forward and gets the accuracy. It's a little disappointing because you look at what Drake May's doing and it's just insane with his accuracy, especially on deep throws. You kind of wish you had that accuracy here. I'm not saying you wish you had Drake May, but the accuracy here. But still, I think there's a lot of room to grow for Caleb Williams. It's not like we can write the book and say, all right, it's done. They're not going to pick up the option. They're not going to sign him. Anything like that. I think they're on track to giving him a long-term deal. But yeah, it's things, accuracy is a tough one to fix, but it can be fixed. And I think it starts with the mechanics. And I think, Caleb is pointing it out in his press conferences, saying the things that he needs to say in terms of, my feet weren't set early in the game. I felt a little too heavy in my legs and my feet, and that just kind of led to some overthrows. So Sunday, another opportunity to show. Let's get this accuracy going here. Yeah, I think once the accuracy gets going, this offense will be a lot better.
Absolutely, but to the point, about 70%. One quarterback.
It's Drake May.
Yeah.
Is the Jordan Love's got to be quick, close, right?
Yes, he is. Let's see here. Let's pull up this lovely chart of stats. We're not going to count. We're not going to count Tyler Huntley because he's at 73%. Let's see. Jordan Love is at 67%, which is we'll call it 11th best in the NFL. But I mean, Spencer Rattler's on here because he's reached the bar of, and same with Mac Jones. So let's call him 9th for starters right now. And then, you scroll down the list and, Caleb is in the area of, Joe Burrow's only completed 54% of his passes in 3 games. It's one of those things, but like Cam Ward, he's at 59.7, Caleb's at 58. So obviously there are a lot of things that can be improved in that regard that we've talked about time and time again, but it ultimately comes down to, like you said, putting the ball in the hands of his players so they can run and get those yards after catch. Because between DJ Moore, Luther Burden, Roma Dunze, Colston Loveland, these are guys with speed, and they will make you pay if you get them into open field.
Yeah, and I think I saw a stat today that on long developing plays, Caleb Williams, completion percentage is down. It's really bad. But when they get the ball out quick, it's way higher. So I wonder if Ben Johnson will start going to that. And a play I look at, do you remember against the Eagles in the fourth quarter in that drive where they eventually put the game away? He hit DJ Moore, or they may have, they extended their lead. He hit DJ Moore on the quick slant inside the 10-yard line. That quick play, that was what I think Ben Johnson wants to start doing moving forward. And, it's a lot of things, a lot of variables too. Like, you saw on Friday, it was a really tough day to throw the football. Receivers were slipping, and it felt like every time Caleb put a ball in the money, outside of a couple, the receivers were slipping. But then he'd also sail a couple passes when they weren't. So, yeah, it's tough. And that 70% mark, that's a tough mark, man, to hit in the NFL. Like I said, I think 5 quarterbacks had it last year in the NFL, so it's not an easy one.
No, not at all. And we're the fact that we continue to see glimpses of it though, and it's just like put it together, like get it there. I think that's the most frustrating part more than anything. It's like,
It's
come
coming
on,
though.
like we'll get it there. Hopefully, eventually, it will all get there. But the strength of this team obviously has been the running game. They are leading the NFL by a very wide margin in rushing yards per game. They have been phenomenal this year between DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai. And fun little gem about Kyle Monangai. He's the only rookie running back this year with multiple 100-yard rushing games. The only one.
Wow.
It's just absolutely insane to think that is a stat. That Ashton Genty, Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson, all of them, one or none. Like it's crazy.
Well, and you look, I'm looking now, the Bears, so 13th DeAndre Swift, 774 rushing yards, 13th in the NFL. Kyle Monangai's 23rd with 591. Swift also missed a game. So let's add, just for fun, even if you add, 20,
whatever his average is.
Yeah, if he had his average of 70, I mean, he shoots up, he goes up to top 10 at 920. He'd be like 900 something. Or no. He'd be right below Rico Dowdle, who's 923. He'd pass Kyron Williams at like 868, around there, something like that, if my math's right. But outside Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, Achane, Gibbs, Bijan and Javonte, it's not a strong year for running backs either. But the Bears do have, look at this, quickly looking inside the top 23. They're the only team to have 2 running backs inside the top 23, it looks like, which is great. No other team has a duo essentially like the Bears right now, which is a big bonus.
And beyond that, the fact that they've come on so strongly this second half of the year, where really the bye week happened and they saw the light more than anything else. Yeah. They saw the gaping holes that the offensive line was opening for them to get this running game going. And for every good thing that the Packers have done, the fact that the Bears are catching them at this time, Devontae Wyatt, the big defensive tackle for the Packers, is out for the season.
Yeah, that's huge.
And he has been their stuffer. Where you get a bigger player like that, that's going to be a difficult thing for them to go up against an interior of a Bears line that has had a lot of success. And obviously Micah Parsons is going to be a key component to the success that the Packers have against the Bears, but you can't discount the fact that the Packers are coming into this not at full strength, and it's time for the Bears to not necessarily, and we hear this from Ben all the time, which is frustrating in hindsight. And I know it's really easy to get caught up in the moments of the game where he'll look at the box score immediately after and be like, yeah, I called too many runs. Yeah, I didn't call enough run plays or call enough pass plays, whatever it may be, that you got here because of specific reasons, and you need to be able to work the script to those strengths. And I'm hoping that based on the health of the different units that the Bears are coming into in this game and what they're going to be facing on the other side, that will be something that he continues to lean on, despite saying we need to get this passing game going.
Well, he recognizes it too. Like, he said it in his post game on Friday, and he said it again on Monday. Like, yeah, I probably could have called a couple more runs, and I could have, in that time where we were struggling to throw the football, called a couple more runs. You look against the Steelers, they called 17 straight passes or something, or 13 straight
Yeah.
passes, whatever it was. So yeah, I mean, I trust him. At least he recognizes it, and it's really refreshing hearing that. Yeah, with Wyatt out, I mean, I expect the Bears to run the football anyway. What's the best way to slow down a pass rush is running the football, draws, counters. You get Parsons and Gary upfield blowing by you, and that's two less defenders you have to worry about. So yeah, I do think the Bears run game will be the biggest difference in this game. If they could get it going, they should have success. If they can't, you're going to probably be looking at, a game where Caleb Williams is going to have to throw a lot more than you'd hope for. It's going to be cold too. Like that's going to be a damn cold game out there. And looking like at Green Bay's rush defense, I mean, they're pretty good this year, but again, they're without Wyatt. They're right now 8th, giving up 98.3 yards per game. Look at their last three, though, 118 yards per game on the ground in their last 3 games. So I think if the sweet spot for the Bears, if they can get over like 125, 140, they should have a really good chance to win this game.
Yeah, and you mentioned to the point, it's a high of 19 on Sunday in Green Bay.
Oh.
And if there's one thing, and Bears fans know this, if there's one thing you want to have that you can lean on in the cold anywhere, it's a very well-oiled machine running game. And thankfully the Bears have that. And so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of success they have to that point, because I mean it's looking, humidity's at 91, so there's a potential for some snow on Monday looking at this humidity. Yeah, so we'll see how the rest of the week transpires, but Monday they are calling for snow in Green Bay right now, developing after midnight. So we'll see if it shifts a little bit earlier. Sometimes those forecasts tend to do that, but I mean, at least from that aspect, you have to feel confident that the Bears have the ability to keep things moving and like I said, lean on it in this game to really set the tone. And then on the flip side of that, the Bears are slowly getting healthier on defense.
Yeah, huge.
Very slowly. They get Jalen Johnson back. They get Kyler Gordon back. TJ Edwards, Noah Sewell returning to practice today for the Bears. So the linebackers, it's your turn to finally get off the injury report. And then Tremaine Edmonds, in hopefully 2 weeks, we'll be talking about his return to the field as well. But they're going to have their hands full here too, looking at the defensive side of the ball. And the fact that a lot of people want to bash the Bears for being relatively weak on defense, and all of their metrics say that. However, the last 3 weeks, the Bears currently rank 13th in defense. So they're getting better. They're showing improvement in yards allowed. Yes, it hasn't been the greatest of opponents outside of the Eagles, where you had the Steelers, you had the Vikings, but 13th is a hell of a lot better than 28th, where they were before.
Well, yeah, I mean, like you said, you got Jalen and Kyler back. That was huge. Now it's time for the linebackers. TJ and Noah were out there. No injury report on Tuesday. So it's, you probably call them limited today from what we saw in the open period. Estimation on Wednesday. I think Thursday we'll really get our first look here at what we're looking for. And even if you get TJ and Noah back, that's huge. I mean, now you got a guy in DeMarco Jackson who has shown you he can play well. But yeah, with this defense, man, like Dennis Allen can do a lot of things now. We saw a lot of dime looks where we had Kyler Gordon in as the extra safety or extra defensive back, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson in the slot. Nashawn Wright. You're going to have a lot of options here, and they just keep finding ways, man. And it goes back to takeaways. Now, Green Bay doesn't give the ball up a lot, so that's going to be a key in this game. the Packers are probably among the best in turnovers this year on offense. So you're gonna have to find ways to force takeaways. And they found a way against the Eagles stripping that tush push. Let's see if maybe Jordan Love gives them one, and they can capitalize on it.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what Jordan Love has been this year. I know a lot of Bears fans want to point to the Cleveland game, the Panthers game, where they just didn't look good. Like, it was not good games
Yeah,
for the Packers offense. Even the Philly game, they put up 7 points against Philadelphia.
yeah,
So you look at those games specifically and you say, what did those teams do that we can do against Jordan Love? And the thing that sticks out to me that the Bears just frankly don't have, and I think what concerns me the most, more than anything else out of this game, is the lack of the pass rush, which has been a common theme this year for the Bears, where, no sacks last week
yeah.
against the Eagles. They clearly had their struggles. The Green Bay Packers don't have a world-beating offensive line like they used to. They don't have the David Bakhtiaris of the world continuing to protect their quarterbacks like they had for years and years and years. And if Montez Sweat, everyone else on that defensive line is not able to put pressure on Jordan Love and force him to throw, I'm curious as to where Dennis Allen is going to lean on in the blitz packages,
Yeah.
because it needs to happen. Because with this wide receiver core that the Packers have, Christian Watson's healthy. Frankly, that scares me. He could easily be the X factor in this game. He has been very good since he came back from injury. And then you have Matthew Golden, you have Romeo Dobbs, and Jaden Reed, I think, might be healthy again. So all of a sudden, you got a lot of speedy, shifty players that if you don't get the pressure going, it could be a long afternoon.
Yeah, that's the issue too. Is Christian Watson is playing really well now, and they're finally getting something from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't get a pass rush on the Green Bay team and you give Jordan Love time, I mean, he's just going to beat you. He's having a really good year, and then if they get that run game going, it's going to be even tougher. So it's going to be a challenge for the Bears defense. But this is a good secondary. Let's see what Dennis Allen does. I'm sure he's going to have a good plan. I haven't checked how Allen has done against Jordan Love in his career. Going up against them. But, I think this will be a really tough challenge. It'll be one of their tougher challenges here in the next, 5 games. And these are the games that you want Montez Sweat's got to step up. These are the games of Austin Booker, who's played really well in the run defense, funneling things inside and making sure nothing bounces out. He's got to be better in the pass rush. You got to get something from your pass rushers. And if they could do that, then get to Jordan Love, kind of like we saw last year a little bit in this game. The Bears should have success, but it's easier said than done. We've been lacking a great pass rush here.
Yeah, and again, it's a what if moment right now, but just knowing that there is that missing piece on the other side, and I know Dio Dangbo did not live up to expectations in the first year of his deal, but you need to see other players step up, whether if Dominique Robinson comes back and what is his impact going to be, or getting some more push up the middle from Grady Jarrett, from Javon Dexter Sr., whatever it is, they need to figure out a way to disrupt them early, because that's been the key to where the Packers have struggled. Is you get them off their game early, they don't seem to recover as quickly as you would expect them to. Yeah. And it's something that they need to figure out. And maybe that is utilizing, like you said, those dime packages, CJ Gardner-Johnson, Kyler Gordon off the end, sending that extra rusher that you wouldn't necessarily see. And the other thing I'm kind of curious about is just how much zone we're going to see versus man in this game from the secondary, because of that battle in the trenches to force the faster passes. Because with the Bears also getting healthier, not just the Packers wide receivers, but the Bears secondary, I'd have to imagine we saw, in my opinion, a little bit too much zone at times last week. that they might be willing to shift a little bit more, knowing that their guys are another week adapted and up to speed in a key game like this.
Like, getting those linebackers back will help with that too. But yeah, how
Yeah.
much, because we did see, Nick McLeod was in at the end of the game against, the Eagles. So it's how much will they push someone like Jalen Johnson or Kyler Gordon? And thankfully, they got healthy guys. But yeah, with the zone and man, I wonder if we do see a little more zone this week too. I don't know. I feel like the Packers receivers, Christian Watson is a speed guy. Romeo Dobbs, the guys that they have, it'll be an interesting matchup. That they don't have Tucker Kraft, which is probably their best mismatch. That's a guy that that would probably give the Bears fits. So at least the Bears have that going for them. But yeah, we'll know early too. We'll see what Dennis Allen can do.
And in the running game as well. I mean, it's nothing to scoff at for what Green Bay has too, where Josh Jacobs has been one of the better runners in the NFL since he made it to Green Bay last year. And battling a knee injury, you wonder just how healthy he's going to be in this game, but also a threat out of the backfield where you have to ask, okay, maybe they gave him a little bit more of a leash to get healthy last week, even though he was active, and they let Emmanuel Wilson do a little bit more. And he had a fantastic game when Josh Jacobs was out 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah.
he's a different style of runner, more that downhill runner. And I'm equally curious because we look at Andrew Billings in concussion protocol. You think, okay, if he can't clear concussion protocol, that's huge
Yeah.
to the run defense of the Bears and how successful they're going to be, because frankly, the last few weeks, that's been something they've been able to lean on pretty heavily. They stopped Saquon Barkley for the most part. And there was some success early on between Kenneth Gainwell and Jalen Warren for the Steelers, but the second half came and that just crumbled on them. And then against the Vikings, there really wasn't much to the running game for the Vikings in that game either. But this is their hardest test of the last 4 weeks in the running game as well. And that I think is going to be a lever that could potentially shift things one way or another if the game is close.
Yeah, I mean, we talked, the Packers run game is pretty damn good. Like you said, Emmanuel Wilson, Josh Jacobs, and we've talked, it's cold game. They probably want to run the football to open some things up. But the Bears have done pretty well against the run lately. It's tough. It's tough. I mean, Saquon is Saquon, but yeah, this will be tougher with Josh Jacobs, who's a phenomenal back, and now you have Wilson as well. So, for me, it still comes back to you got to get that pressure on the quarterback. You have to make Jordan Love throw some tough throws. We've seen he throws off his back foot, the off-platform stuff, and take advantage of that. It'll be interesting to see what the Packers game plan is against the defense too. It kind of feels like, as we're talking about this, a lot of strength on strength, a lot of strength versus strength in this game.
Yeah, and so to that point, and I think we might have mentioned it at some point, but if there is one strength to weakness that each team needs to exploit in your mind, what is it?
Oh man, I think for the Bears, it's the run. Lean on the run game. You have to lean on that run game. You have to get Monangai and Swift going. And I honestly, I think for the Packers, it's just stopping that run. You know what I mean? Like it's forcing Caleb Williams to throw the ball 30, 35 times, something like that, and see if he could beat you with his arm. That's how I'd look at it from the Packers perspective. From the Bears, I would try run the football as much as I can and get pressure.
Yeah, I can't imagine, social media has been a playground these last 48 hours. Just talking about this game that's still days away.
Yeah.
But if it comes down to we're sitting here on Monday morning and we see another subpar performance from the Bears passing game, I'm curious as to the psyche of what not only the Bears fans are going to be like, but what the team is going to be like, because it could easily affect games moving forward here where, you don't want to get sprung and end up, crapping the bed against a Cleveland Browns team that is struggling to win despite the strengths of their defense, or, maybe even overlooking them and looking again to the Packers and say, oh, we're going to get them back at home in 2 weeks. Like, we got this.
Yeah.
And everything has been about starting 1-0 every week, 1-0, 1-0, not 9-3, go to 10-3. None of that. It's almost a mental test for what Ben Johnson has been instilling in this group that they have been buying into. They're drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
That, for a more difficult stretch that is going to determine your fate, because you control your own fate in the NFC playoff race, whether or not it is for real. And I'm terrified. I'll be honest. I'm terrified that things could go poorly if they do not win on Sunday.
Well, it's going to be overreaction no matter what. If the Bears win, it's going to be crazy overreaction. If the Packers win, it's going to be crazy overreaction. I tend to just switch my Twitter feed to For You. I try to keep it on that, or not For You, following as much as possible, because the For You is just, yeah. And I mean, there's Packers beat writers interacting with these weird accounts that post Bears stuff. I don't know. It's the same with the Bears. Yeah, it's just so and I would not say this in a negative way, but like feels like the Packers beat corps are more like they're homegrown. They're fans of the team too, where the Bears have a couple people that grew up Bears fans. A lot of them are out of town too. So it makes for a good mix, a good melting pot. And like I said, it's going to be overreaction, man, no matter what happens.
A good melting pot on most days.
Yes. They'll never be
disclaimer.
There'll never be a common ground between these two teams at all.
Never. Ever. So the final question is, obviously there are a lot of variables. A lot of things can change over the next 3-4 days for when these two teams will take the field up in Green Bay. Where do you think the final score lies?
Oh, man. I've been saying this all year. I'll say it again. I think the Bears have to prove it to me in terms of going into Lambeau and beating the Packers again. The last Bears quarterback to win his first 2 starts at Lambeau Field was Rex Grossman. 2004 and I think 2006. I don't think he started there in 2005.
It's Kyle Orton.
I think it was a Christmas Day game, I want to say, right? Yeah. Caleb Williams has a chance to do it. I need to see it. I'm going to pick the Packers. I think the Packers win because it's at Lambeau. I think the Bears are going to win at Soldier Field. I think it's going to be 26-20 Green Bay. I think the Bears cover, though. The 6.5, 7.5, whatever it is now.
All right. Well, I was going back on forth on the fence on this one, because it's not just the game in January last year with a team that was clearly in over their heads, because Jordan Love left that game.
Yeah, he was hurt. Yeah,
there were a lot of
playing well.
he was, but it was a team that obviously didn't have Christian Watson. It was a team that obviously didn't have Micah Parsons because he was still in Dallas.
Where he should be.
Right. And obviously the Bears didn't have the offensive line. They didn't have these pieces that have really kept things in motion for them. And then I think back to last year's game at Soldier, where it was a blocked field goal. That was the difference in this game. And the Bears arguably could have swept last year.
Yeah.
And I despite what the Packers have done, and they have improved, they have gotten healthy in certain regards that make them a better team than they were a year ago. The Bears, meanwhile, have improved in more areas, in my opinion, and specifically in the coaching, which I think is the edge here. And I think we talked about the fact that, they're probably going to split. It's probably going to be Green Bay takes Green Bay, Chicago takes Chicago, and we'll see how the rest of the games play out. But I gotta say it. The more I think about it, the more I feel the Bears are still feeling like people aren't taking them seriously.
100%.
And for as much as Caleb Williams wants to sit at the podium and say, we don't care, they're just going to say what they want to say. I think they do care.
Yeah, I think
and
so.
they want to show people that they are for real. And they want to say, fine, Philly didn't impress you. Let's go into Green Bay. Let's make this a serious conversation that we are contenders in this league for a Super Bowl. I'm going to say 24-21 Bears. I think they're going to go in. I think they are going to, again, prove a lot of people wrong. I've bet against them the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hope that I don't get bit in the ass by, the reverse psychology bug here with psyching myself out. But something just feels different to me. I don't know what it is, but it's that gut feeling. I think it could go both ways. I'm not going to be shocked if they win. I'm not going to be shocked if they lose. I think it's that close. But they're there. They just need to get that one extra nudge across the line. Get that 2-game lead. I guess 1.5-game lead, whatever you want to call it, with that stupid tie. That puts them in a very good driver's seat with 4 games to play. That is huge.
And let the rest of the NFC West beat up on each other.
Exactly.
I hope you're right. I hope I am wrong. I would love to eat crow again. I already ate crow, say maybe 8-9. I ate crow, saying they wouldn't beat the Eagles. I will do all the crow eating for everyone if they keep winning.
We'll find out after this week if we've been betting against the Bears. We finally split this week. We'll see what happens in that regard. But like we said, it's the primetime afternoon window for the Bears and the Packers in week 14. And it is for the lead in the NFC North. If the Bears win, it's a 1.5 lead. If the Bears lose, they are down half a game. So it literally goes down to the finish with, frankly, 2 very rough schedules for both teams. Packers play the Broncos next week. So, I mean, it's not going to get easier for them. And then obviously, like we said,
again.
The primetime game on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Week 16 getting flexed to prime time. So that will be fun. And then the Bears with another primetime game the week after, traveling out to San Francisco. So going from very little in the primetime space to, hey, here we go, back-to-back games, primetime afternoon game. Let's see what you got. Everybody finally has their eyes on the Bears. It feels good, but they just need to continue to walk the walk like they have been the last several weeks.
Let's hope, man. Let's hope they can extend this lead, and they're playing meaningful football in December. That's important. But let's, like I said, prove me wrong. Let's get a win.
Absolutely. That's going to do it for this episode of the Bear Report. For Zach Pearson, I'm Steven Johnson. Thanks for tuning in. We will be back after the Bears and Packers face off with our rapid recap. We'll get the live reaction from Ben Johnson, from Caleb Williams, and the Bears, regardless of outcome. And hopefully we will be chatting about still, hopefully, knock on wood, a first-place Bears team come Sunday evening. So until then, enjoy the rest of your week. We'll talk to you on Sunday. Take care.
Good, better, bad.